All right, let's set the scene. Picture this. It's February 1948. You're in the Strait of Malacca, one of the busiest shipping lanes in the entire world. The seas are calm, the day is clear, just another totally normal day at sea. But out of the blue, the radio silence is about to be completely shattered by one of the most chilling and bizarre maritime mysteries that has ever been recorded.
Just think about that for a second. These were the last two words anyone would ever hear from the SS Orang Medan, tapped out in Morse code. Then, nothing. Just dead air. It was the end of a terrifying message, but it was just the beginning of a ghost story that, to this day, has people completely stumped.
So, what exactly went down? Well, on that day, multiple American and British ships sailing through the strait suddenly started picking up this really strange, really frantic distress call. But this wasn't someone screaming for help over a crackly radio. No, this was something far more reliable. And, in this case, a whole lot creepier.
See, the message came through in Morse code. We're talking clear, unmistakable dots and dashes. This stuff can cut through almost any atmospheric noise, travel for thousands of miles. So when those radio operators heard that signal, they knew, without a doubt, it was real. And they knew someone was in very, very serious trouble. The message came in 3 horrifying bursts. First, a pretty standard SOS from a ship that called itself the SS Orang Medan. They needed a doctor. Simple enough. But then, just moments later, another message comes through, and this one is pure panic. It says, officers are dead, crew members are dead, and they need a warship now. And then, after sending out its location, that final, horrifying message, before the signal just stopped. You have to understand, when a call like that comes in, everyone drops what they're doing. The nearest ship, an American merchant vessel named the Silver Star, didn't hesitate. The captain immediately turned the ship, steaming at full speed toward the last known coordinates of the Orang Medan, probably expecting to find a disaster, a fire, a shipwreck, something. But what they found was so much weirder. When the Silver Star finally spotted it on the horizon, the Orang Medan was just floating. It looked completely fine. No damage, no list. It was just adrift. And deathly quiet. And the closer they got, the more unsettling it became. The ship's engines were clearly off, no smoke coming from the funnel, which is a big red flag for a steamship. There was no one on deck. Nothing. The captain of the Silver Star laid on the horn, they shouted through megaphones, and they got absolutely nothing back but the sound of the ocean. Something was deeply, deeply wrong. And at this point, there was only one way to figure out what had happened to the crew of the Orang Medan. They had to go on board. The captain of the Silver Star got a boarding party together, and you can only imagine the question hanging over them. What in the world were they about to find?
So the rescue team makes their way over and climbs aboard the Orang Medan. The first thing they noticed was this bizarre, bone-deep chill in the air, which made no sense in the tropical heat. And the second thing? Absolute tomb-like silence. And that's when they saw them.
It wasn't just one body. It was the entire crew. They were everywhere, lying dead exactly where they stood. The captain was found on the bridge, officers in the chart room, sailors just sprawled out on the deck. It was a scene of unbelievable mass death.
But this is where the story goes from tragic to truly terrifying. Every single person they found, right down to the ship's little dog, was frozen solid with the same horrifying expression on their face. Their eyes were wide open, staring up at something. Their mouths were gaping, as if in a silent scream. Their arms were even stretched out, like they were trying to fight off an invisible attacker.
And here's the absolute kicker. Despite this look of pure agony on every face, there wasn't a single mark on any of them. No wounds, no bruises, no signs of a struggle at all. It's like they had all somehow been literally frightened to death at the exact same moment. The boarding party finally made it to the radio room, and there he was, the man who had sent that final message. He was slumped over his desk, dead just like all the others, with his fingers still resting on the Morse code key, frozen in the act of sending his last, desperate word.
Okay, so the crew of the Silver Star had no idea what they were dealing with. This was way above their pay grade. The only thing they could do was try to tow this ghost ship to a port so that proper authorities could investigate. After all, this ship held all the answers.
But the Orang Medan wasn't about to give up its secrets. Just as the crew started hooking up the tow lines, thick smoke started pouring out of one of the cargo holds. Before they could even react, that smoke turned into flames, and the fire spread with an almost unnatural speed. The boarding party had to scramble, cutting the lines and getting back to their boat as fast as they could. And just moments after they got clear, a massive explosion blew the Orang Medan apart, and it sank beneath the waves in minutes.
And just like that, it was gone. The only piece of evidence, the ship itself, was at the bottom of the ocean. All that was left was the wild testimony of the Silver Star's crew. And you can probably guess what happened next. With no ship to investigate, the official story became that it was all just a spooky sailor's yarn.
Now, the skeptics love to point out that there's no official record of an SS Orang Medan in any shipping registry. But you have to remember what the world was like right after World War II. It was chaos. It was incredibly common for ships, especially those involved in smuggling or other shady business, to use fake names and stay off the books entirely.
So with the ship itself gone forever, all we're left with is speculation. And believe me, over the last 70+ years, there have been a lot of theories trying to explain what could have possibly happened on that ship.
The theories really boil down to three main possibilities. First, you've got the most logical one. The ship was carrying some kind of dangerous, undeclared cargo. Second, you have the conspiracy theory. It was on a top-secret military mission that went horribly wrong. And third, well, given the facts, you can't rule out something supernatural.
All right, let's start with the most scientific explanation. The war had just ended, and the black market was flooded with surplus chemicals and munitions. So, what if the Orang Medan was smuggling something like potassium cyanide? If seawater leaked into the hold, it would create a deadly toxic gas, killing the crew by suffocation almost instantly, which would explain the lack of injuries. And an unstable cargo like old nitroglycerin could have easily started the fire and caused the final explosion.
But then there's the much darker, more conspiratorial theory. This one connects the Orang Medan to Japan's notorious Unit 731, a biological warfare unit that did absolutely horrific things. The theory goes that after the war, the U.S. was secretly helping move some of their deadly nerve agents or research materials, and they used an unregistered ghost ship to do it. A leak of that stuff would be catastrophic. And this idea got a huge boost in 2003 when a CIA letter from the 50s that mentions the Orang Medan was declassified, proving the agency was at least interested in the case.
So while the conspiracy theories and paranormal ideas are definitely more exciting, most investigators tend to land on the simplest explanation. It was probably a tragic accident. A rust bucket ship smuggling a cocktail of unstable wartime chemicals, sprang a leak which killed the crew in an instant, and then conveniently destroyed all the evidence. It's a grim explanation, but it does tick all the boxes.
But in the end, without the wreck, we just can't know for sure what happened to the men of the SS Orang Medan. Their final, terrifying moments are lost to history. It's just another chilling secret that the ocean has decided to keep for itself.
You know, the reason this story has stuck around for so long isn't just because it's a mystery. It's because it's a reminder of how easily history can just disappear. A whole ship full of people, an entire event, just wiped off the map, surviving only as a story. The Orang Medan is gone. And it really makes you wonder, what other stories, what other ghost ships are still out there, just waiting in the dark?